Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going. Today we have predictions for 6 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and Detroit Pistons. Man, the Cavs are rolling into Detroit with a swagger. They're 40-9, riding a 4-game win streak and sporting one of the league's deepest starting lineups. With Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, and Allen on the floor, they're not just scoring, they're setting the tone on both ends. Sure, their bench is solid too, which makes them a tough nut to crack on the road. Now, Detroit's showing some serious signs of life this season. They've snapped out of their past struggles and now sport a 25-25 record. Cade Cunningham's been on fire, and even though Jaden Ivey's injury left a gap, Malik Beasley has stepped up big time. A win here wouldn't just be a bounce back, it'd be a statement for the Pistons as they look to stay in the playoff conversation. The Cavs have one of the deadliest offenses in the league. They're dishing out 122.6 points per game, hitting shots at 50% overall, and knocking down threes at an eye-popping 39.6%. With 6 different guys averaging double digits, Mitchell leads the charge at 23.7 points a pop, while Garland pulls double duty with 21.7 points and nearly 7 dimes per contest. The team's ball movement is slick, averaging 29.3 assists per game. Up front, Mobley and Allen are absolute thieves on the defensive end, grabbing rebounds and swatting shots, making their front court arguably the best in the league. Allen's locking down rebounds at 10 per game, and Mobley's throwing down 1.5 blocks a night. Even on the perimeter, the Cavs aren't giving an inch, Mitchell's snatching 1.4 steals a game, keeping the pressure on opponents. Over in Detroit, their defense has been a bit of a roller coaster. They're allowing 113.7 points per game and giving up 46.7% from the field. Their front court, led by Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, has been the silver lining with strong rebounding and blocking efforts. Duren's pulling down 10 boards per game, and both he and Stewart are swapping blocks at about 1.2 apiece. Ozar Thompson's been the defensive anchor on the perimeter with 1.5 steals a game, though overall, the Pistons' defensive consistency has been a bit up and down. Here's where it gets interesting. The Cavs are coming off a tough, back-to-back schedule. They just crushed the Pistons by 19 points at home on January 27th, and now they face Detroit again, fresh off a national telecast showdown against the Celtics. That means Cleveland might be a bit shell-shocked physically and mentally. Detroit, on the other hand, is well-rested and itching for a rebound after a loss to Atlanta. It's like a perfect storm for a Pistons upset. I'm not saying I'm throwing all my chips on the Cavs here, even though I've backed them plenty of times, but this is one of those matchups where I just can't swing it. The Pistons have been scrapping and proving themselves, and with guys like Cunningham and Duren stepping up, there's no clear mismatch on the backcourt against Garland and Mitchell. I think Detroit's going to keep it tight and might just cover that plus 6.5 spread. All in all, I'm leaning Pistons here. They're the underdogs with something to prove, and on a night when Cleveland's coming off a grueling schedule, Detroit's got every chance to make some noise.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the San Antonio Spurs and Atlanta Hawks. Get ready for an absolute barn burner this Wednesday as the Spurs hit the road to State Farm Arena to face off with the Hawks. I'm telling you, this game's got all the ingredients for a memorable showdown. San Antonio is looking to turn a new leaf with the arrival of all-star guard De'Aaron Fox, and if he suits up, his quicksilver playmaking is exactly the spark the Spurs need. His ability to tear up defenses in transition, combined with the wizardry of Victor Wembanyama, whose numbers already hint at a generational talent, could spell big trouble for Atlanta, especially given the Hawks' current interior struggles. Now, the Spurs have been a bit all over the map lately, but you can sense the potential in their style. They're a fast-paced crew that likes to get up and down the floor, and when you mix that with Wembanyama's rim protection and rebound acumen, it sets the stage for some major mismatches. Meanwhile, Atlanta is riding a wave after snapping an 8-game skid, with Trae Young leading the charge. Trae's been putting up eye-popping numbers, orchestrating plays, and dishing out assists like it's second nature. But here's the rub. Without key defenders like Jalen Johnson in the lineup and some interior help, the Hawks could be left vulnerable to San Antonio's aggressive frontcourt. What really gets me excited is the contrasting styles on display. The Hawks thrive on a lightning-fast tempo, stretching the floor and pushing the pace, while the Spurs are more methodical with their mid-range efficiency. Both teams love to score, and you can bet this game will be a high-octane shootout, with plenty of three-point barrages and fast break buckets lighting up the scoreboard. I'm leaning towards an over because if these teams get into a rhythm, they're going to turn every possession into a scoring opportunity. The key for the Spurs will be to slow down Young and disrupt Atlanta's rhythm. They need to lock him down, force some tough shots, and hustle for every rebound. If they can do that, they might just be able to stifle the Hawks' high-powered offense. On the flip side, Atlanta must keep their tempo up and make sure they're not caught flat-footed on defense. It's all about quick ball movement, creative playmaking, and staying aggressive on both ends of the floor. I've been following this team's evolution closely, and while the Spurs are still adjusting to their new-look lineup post-trade, I believe integrating Fox could be a game-changer. It might take a few possessions for the chemistry to build, but when it does, it could flip the script entirely. Meanwhile, the Hawks, bolstered by home court energy and a recent win, are determined to prove that they can overcome their defensive shortcomings. If Young is on fire, I wouldn't be surprised if he turns the game into his personal highlight reel. At the end of the day, we're in for a clash of titans, an offensive slugfest where every possession matters. Both teams are desperate for a win to gain some momentum heading deeper into the season, and the intensity will be palpable. With both sides loaded with talent and hungry for success, expect a contest that's unpredictable, fast-paced, and filled with plenty of hoops magic. I can't wait to see how this all unfolds, and one thing's for sure, this game is set to be a high-octane, back-and-forth battle that will keep us all on the edge of our seats until the final buzzer. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the Miami Heat and Philadelphia 76ers. I'm telling you, this game is set to be an absolute war on the hardwood. The Heat are hitting Philly on a back-to-back, and you know that adds a whole extra level of grit and challenge. Miami's defense has been locked in talking about a top 10 unit that only allows about 110.6 points a game, and that's going to be their bread and butter against a 76ers squad that's been a bit up and down offensively lately. Philly's been lighting it up sometimes, pushing close to 116 points per game in recent stretches, but their defense has been giving up way too many easy buckets, averaging around 119.6 points allowed over the last several outings. Now, all eyes are on Tyrese Maxey. This kid's been a revelation, dropping 34-point nights and dishing out dimes like he's got no tomorrow. With Embiid sitting on the sidelines as a game-time decision, Maxey's got to pick up the slack and drive the offense, and that's a tall order. Philly's big man presence is definitely hurt by that absence, and while the Sixers have been pushing the pace with improved ball movement, they're also leaving themselves vulnerable, especially on the boards. Their rebounding is one of the worst in the league. If you're not crashing the boards, you're not going to keep up with Miami's tempo. Speaking of rebounding, the Heat know this battle all too well. Bam Adebayo has been doing his thing, dropping 30-point performances and patrolling the glass with authority. Plus, you've got the up-and-coming Kal-El making waves, so Miami is primed to control the boards. On top of that, the Heat's three-point shooting is nothing to scoff at. They're hitting about 36.5% from downtown, which is a real threat against Philly's perimeter defense that's been struggling to keep opponents honest. And let's talk bench depth. Miami's reserve squad has been stepping up big time. Tyler Herro, for instance, has been cranking out over 23 points since Butler got suspended, and their role players are giving them solid minutes on both ends. Philly, on the other hand, has seen their bench production dip, ranking near the bottom in scoring off the bench, which is not a great look when you're playing a full 48 minutes on someone's home court. Now, sure, Philly gets the comfort of home, but travel on a back-to-back can really wear a team down, and Miami's been healthier lately. While Philly has that home court energy, their roster is riddled with injuries and fatigue, and that just might tilt the scales in Miami's favor. The Heat have been playing smart, disciplined basketball, even if they've had their share of blown leads this season, and their recent performance has shown that they can bounce back when the going gets tough. All in all, I'm leaning toward the Heat coming out on top in what promises to be a gritty, nail-biter of a contest. They're set to lock down the paint, control the glass, and use that sweet three-point shooting to pick apart a Sixers squad that's struggling with rebounding and depth. Even with Philly's Maxey going off and trying to do it all, I don't see it being enough to overcome Miami's momentum and defensive prowess. So, from where I'm sitting, the Heat are primed to make a statement in Philly tonight, turning the back-to-back fatigue into a launching pad for a much-needed win. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the Chicago Bulls and Minnesota Timberwolves. In an exciting showdown on the horizon, the Chicago Bulls are set to travel to Minnesota to face the Timberwolves in what promises to be a pivotal game for both franchises. The Bulls, who recently stunned fans with a 133-124 home victory against the Miami Heat, improving their record to 22-29, are now adapting to a new era. Following the blockbuster trade that sent star guard Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings, Chicago has embarked on a rebuilding phase. In return, they acquired Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, and Trey Jones, although the departure came at the cost of several valuable draft picks. This bold move signals that management believes the previous roster was not capable of achieving the breakthrough they desire. With LaVine's exit, the responsibility on the offensive end has shifted. Kobe White has stepped up significantly, leading the team in scoring in recent contests, while veteran Nikola Vucevic continues to anchor the center position with reliable double-doubles. Notably, recent reports confirm that despite entertaining trade offers, Vucevic will remain with the Bulls, a move that underscores the organization's commitment to building around him. Additionally, emerging talents like Josh Giddey are being given more opportunities on the perimeter, and rookie Mattis Buzelis has made a strong impression by setting a career high with 24 points in a game. Despite these bright spots, Chicago's defense remains a glaring weakness. They rank 26th in defensive efficiency, allowing nearly 120 points per game on average. This vulnerability will be a critical point of focus as they prepare to take on a well-rested Minnesota squad. The Timberwolves, currently sporting a 27-23 record with a balanced home performance, 12 wins and 12 losses, are also facing their own set of challenges. Minnesota has struggled to maintain consistency this season, hampered by a spate of injuries that have disrupted the rhythm of play. Offensively, they rank 14th in the league, a position that reflects ongoing issues with shot selection and offensive execution. Their three-point shooting has been particularly concerning, as they've managed only around 30% in back-to-back games, often relying on hurried, unstructured shots that fail to hit the target. On the defensive side, however, the Timberwolves are performing notably better. They rank 7th in defensive rating, allowing just 111 points per 100 possessions, a stark contrast to Chicago's struggles. Central to their offense is Anthony Edwards, who averages an impressive 26.4 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 4.7 assists per game, serving as the primary scoring option. Meanwhile, Julius Randle has yet to meet the high expectations set for him, averaging only 18.6 points per game amid swirling trade rumors and reported dissatisfaction. Even with these challenges, Minnesota's ability to secure wins at home has been evident, although their performance as heavy favorites has been inconsistent. The Timberwolves have been notably poor against the spread when favored by double digits, with recent trends casting doubt on their ability to cover in such situations. Heading into Tuesday's matchup, the strategic contrasts between the two teams are evident. The Bulls, tired from playing on the back end of a back-to-back and adjusting to a new team identity, will need to shore up their defensive lapses. Expect Chicago to focus on contesting three-point attempts and tightening up in the paint, particularly as they try to neutralize the impact of Minnesota's key scorers. Conversely, the Timberwolves, benefiting from more rest and home court advantage, will look to exploit their defensive solidity while improving their offensive shot selection. The matchup will also be a test for Minnesota's ability to contain Vucevic, a player who has been a consistent force for the Bulls. From a betting perspective, the odds seem intriguing. While on paper the Timberwolves should have the edge due to their rest and home support, the Bulls' recent offensive outburst and improved performance on the road add layers of unpredictability. With the Bulls expected to cover the spread, there's also a strong argument for a lower total score, likely under 227.5 points, as both teams may prioritize defensive adjustments following recent high-scoring games. This balance of offense and defense could lead to a tightly contested game, with momentum swings that make for an exciting watch. In summary, Tuesday's game features a contrast in circumstances, a rebuilding Chicago Bulls eager to prove that their new strategy can yield results, and a Minnesota Timberwolves team that, despite recent setbacks and inconsistent performances, still boasts significant home court strength and defensive prowess. As both teams continue to evolve, Chicago with its young, emerging talent, and Minnesota grappling with injury setbacks and offensive inefficiencies, the outcome remains uncertain. However, if the Bulls can harness their recent offensive momentum and address their defensive shortcomings, they could well challenge the Timberwolves' home dominance, making for a must-watch game this season. The fifth prediction for today is for a game between the Phoenix Suns and Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, if you're looking for a showdown in the West, this one between OKC and the Suns is shaping up to be a must-watch. I've been following the trends, and it seems like the Thunder are on a mission at home, while the Suns are still trying to find their groove. OKC has been steamrolling opponents with their suffocating defense, and they've turned their home court into a fortress. Every time they lock it down, they keep their rivals under 110 points, and that kind of performance has helped them rack up an impressive win tally. The last time they faced the Suns, they held Phoenix to a measly 83 points, shutting down their shooting efficiency and really making a statement. Now, don't get me wrong, the Suns still have some firepower with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal leading the charge. Booker's been dropping around 26 points a game and even dishing out the ball when needed, while Beal's been a steady 17-point contributor. But without Kevin Durant, who's currently dealing with an injury and all sorts of trade rumors swirling around him, the Suns are definitely not in their prime. They're coming off a couple of rough losses, and it's clear that they're struggling to match up with teams that bring both grit and talent on both ends of the court. Meanwhile, OKC is heating up. They recently put on a clinic against the Bucks and have been firing on all cylinders ever since. When they score over 115, which they've done plenty of times this season, it almost feels like the game is over. And let's not forget their defensive prowess. These guys are elite at forcing turnovers, limiting field goal percentages, and making life miserable for opposing shooters. Their ability to clamp down and take control of the tempo is what sets them apart, especially on the back end of the floor. I've been watching these matchups closely, and it's pretty clear that the Thunder's home court advantage is a massive factor. They've been virtually unstoppable at home, boasting a cover percentage that makes betting on them a no-brainer if they keep things tight. Meanwhile, the Suns have been nothing short of inconsistent on the road, and with Durant out, their usual offensive spark is just missing. Every time Phoenix steps on the floor, they have to rely on Booker and Beal to carry the load, and while they can light it up, it's not enough when you're facing a team that can control the pace and dictate the flow of the game like OKC. Honestly, I'm leaning heavily towards the Thunder on this one. Their defensive intensity and offensive rhythm give them a clear edge, and unless the Suns come out with a miracle performance from beyond the arc, it's hard to see them keeping pace. The Thunder have a knack for elevating their game in crunch time, particularly in the fourth quarter, and I expect them to do just that again. The Suns need to shoot at an unreal clip from downtown to stay in the game, and given how they've fared recently against tough defenses, that seems like a tall order. All in all, if the Thunder continue playing with that relentless energy and defensive tenacity, I wouldn't be surprised if they cruise past Phoenix with ease. It's one of those matchups where the home team's momentum, combined with their ability to shut down opposing offenses, could spell another big win in the win column. So, from where I'm sitting, this game is a slam dunk for OKC. They've got the talent, the strategy, and the home crowd to back it all up. The sixth prediction for today is for a game between the Orlando Magic and Sacramento Kings. Man, when you look at what's going down between the Magic and the Kings, it feels like watching a train wreck in slow motion. The Orlando Magic, who once looked like a legitimate playoff team with a 23-18 start, have just been tripping all over themselves lately. They were riding high until they hit a rough patch, losing 9 out of 10 games, even when they came in as the favorites in most of those matchups. It's hard not to feel for them, especially when you see a team that should be clicking suddenly struggling to crack 100 points game after game. Their offense is like a busted pump, and even though they pride themselves on defense, you can't win games if you're not putting points on the board. On the flip side, you've got the Sacramento Kings trying to find their rhythm amid some defensive lapses of their own. Sure, the Kings have been giving up over 115 points per game and can't seem to lock down on the perimeter, but they've got that fast break mentality that can turn the game on its head. Remember their 41% splash from 3 against the Timberwolves? That kind of shooting gives them hope, and they've been lighting it up in previous battles with the Magic, 6 wins straight in their recent run, even though a few came on the back of overtime drama. There's a swagger about the Kings that's hard to ignore. What really spices things up is the fresh addition of Zach LaVine. Now, I know some folks were raising eyebrows when they saw his name pop up, especially given that the Chicago experiment with DeMar DeRozan didn't quite gel. But LaVine brings a new dynamic to the floor, a versatile scorer who can attack the rim and hit the long ball. Even with the trade chatter swirling, Sacramento seems to be building a squad that's not afraid to push the pace and roll with what they got, even after letting De'Aaron Fox take a step back from the starring role. For me, it's all about the numbers and the energy coming out of each team. The Magic's woes on offense are glaring. They haven't put up 100 points in their last 3 road battles, and that's a red flag you just can't ignore. They might be grinding hard on the boards, but in today's NBA, rebounding alone isn't enough when your scoring machine is on the fritz. Meanwhile, the Kings' rhythm on offense, especially when fueled by a speedy transition game and that newfound LaVine spark, could really expose Orlando's current vulnerabilities. I'm leaning toward the Kings taking control in this one. The Magic have been a shell of the team we once believed in, and despite their defensive grit, they're just not clicking on offense. Sacramento, with their knack for quick breaks and a shooter's touch from deep, is set up to not only win, but to cover the spread. And from a betting standpoint, I've got my eye on the under, given the Magic's recent scoring drought and the generally tighter scoring environment when these two squads clash. It seems like a smart call. Bottom line, unless Orlando finds a way to fire up their offense, the Kings are primed to run away with this game, and I'm not expecting the Magic to suddenly pull out a miracle on the road.